Okay, this is part 2 of our Autism Awareness Month little documentary about having a child with autism. And anyhow, I'm Jessica, this is Ryan, my husband, and this is Cannon. It looks like he's fixing to take a nap right now. And anyhow, we got cut off on the other video I was doing, but just to say real quick, you know, Cannon's been doing ABA therapy, and he's also involved with the pre-K class where he has a special class that he goes to, and we're so appreciative of Miss Macy Crosby and her class and the ones that's in there that's constantly working with him. And so Cannon has a lot of hands-on, and that's one thing about autism. It's almost like they're that blank slate. They don't know right from wrong, and so you have to teach them literally everything. And so with him, it's a lot of hands-on, it's a lot of prompting, it's a lot of showing him what to do. He learns visually, so whatever he sees, he can do. But like I said, you know, this journey has not been easy for us. And, you know, of course we have people that want to know what's wrong when we go to a restaurant and Cannon's crying or upset because the lights might be too bright, or he puts his hands over his ears. You know, they're like just thinking that he might be a bad child, but that's not what it is. You know, Cannon is very sensory, and with that sensory processing that goes on, you know, he's affected in ways that you and I may not even notice. And so I just want to bring that awareness to you. And I just want to ask my husband, you know, he's so supportive in this. You know, I can't imagine what it's like for a daddy to be able to go through this. I always feel like that I'm the train that's on the track going 100 miles an hour doing all these things, but I know that he's doing things too. And so I just want to ask you, you know, what emotions or what feelings have you had about, you know, having a child with autism? You know, I know your expectations may have been different and things like that. So what are some things that having a child with autism that you've gone through?
I think I've spoken to some of the dads that have autistic children, and some things that we have found similarities or common ground on is how we're built, and we're fixers. We want our children fixed. We want it done now. And when we're approached with autism, it's something that we can't fix. It's something that we can't put it all together and just make it work and make them function the way we want them to function. It is something that we really struggle with. Something I just personalize, something that I've really struggled with as a fixer. I want it fixed. Looking at the therapist with that attitude and that mentality, I just want them fixed. I want to be able to say dad or mama and look at us and play and do all the things that we ask him to do, and understand that he understands. And it's just trying to change my mindset, change my attitude, change the way I look at everything in regards to child raising, child rearing, shepherding a child's heart, and maybe redefining what normacy is across the board. And for each and every one of y'all out there, this is a spectrum. It's a broad spectrum, and we praise God for every little bit of progress. We see little bits and pieces of progress along the way, and they're big things to us now. Where before the noises, the sounds, the verbiage, the ABCs, all that stuff, the sign language, it's not coming fast, but it's coming along. And if I could just offer any hope to the parents, to the dads out there, no, we can't fix it, but we can encourage our spouses, we can encourage our children, we can read, we can encourage our therapists, we just do what we know to do, and trust God with everything else. Trust God with everything along the way, and lean into Him like never before. That's something that I'm learning more and more about, and praise God. I mean, He's making progress, guys, and I pray that you all will see progress along the way with yours. I've heard of children already speaking. To some degree, I would say that I'm jealous, I'm covetous about that, but I also understand this is a broad spectrum. Not every child is the same. When you look at one child with autism, you look at one child with autism, and no one case or one child is the same as any others, and we shouldn't be comparing children. We should just be pouring into the child that we have, love the children that we have, making sure that our children has the very best that they could possibly have, and just focus on that. And I just pray for each and every one of y'all, and please continue to be praying for us as well.
I think the biggest thing is, number one, I know the Lord is with us. I know that He guides us and directs us, and I don't know how anyone can even, go through this process without having the Lord in their life, because, I would have great anxiety, I would have great worry, I would have great frustration, but I gotta know that He handles all this, that He has all this in His hand, and, God has blessed us with Canaan. He is a blessing from the Lord. Every child that is created in the womb is created by God and for God. And, this is no accident. I can say, well, was it something I did when I was pregnant? Was it vaccines? Was it this? Was it that? I don't know what caused Kenan to have autism, but I know that this is what we have to deal with right now, and the best thing I can do is embrace it, embrace this journey that I'm on, and not fight against it, not try to deny it and live in denial, which I think a lot of times we do, is when something bad happens, we try to, block it out. Oh, that's not happening to me. In reality, it is. And when we have that attitude, when we have that mindset, it's the children that ends up suffering the most. It's the children. And so I think the quicker that we realize, okay, this is what we're dealing with. This is the diagnosis. He has autism. All right, what can we do? What can we do? And I think that, in Appleton County, we have autism. At Appleton County, Autism Advocates for Appleton County, we have a support group. We have a Facebook page. We have, we're trying to build support in Appleton County, and not just Appleton County, but all surrounding counties, to help families deal with what they're dealing with. I've been on this journey for a while now. And so those that are now coming onto the journey, that don't know the questions to ask, that don't know the people to contact, all I can do is give you what I've been through. I'm not trying to be bossy and try to tell you what to do, but I know the pain, I know the suffering that you're going through. And so this is a time not to isolate and pretend it's not happening. It's a time for us to draw together. And, I know we're in this COVID-19 war that we're going on with this sickness and this disease, but you know what? That's going to pass. But this situation that you're in with autism, it may not pass quickly. It might be years before you see any progress. It might, they might be in their 20s and still living at home. You know what? That will be okay. That will be okay. And so I think the biggest thing we can do is that God has blessed His children with us. And so we make the most of our time. We make the most of our moment that we're with them. We do everything we can to instruct them. Even Cannon, I believe he has a knowledge of God. Just the other day, we sat down to say the blessing, and I just, Ryan said, all right, let's say the blessing. And Cannon put his hands together, and he started saying some sounds. And I really believe he was saying the blessing. And Ryan looked at him and said, amen. He goes, shake his head. And then he let go of his hands and started eating. And so I think the biggest thing, too, with people, with families, is consistency. Be consistent. Be consistent. They're not going to get it the first time. You're going to have to constantly show them over and over and over and over again. And yes, it's going to get on your nerves. Yes, you're going to go crazy sometimes. And it's important that you take care of yourself, that you take care of your mind and your heart, that you allow the Lord to minister to you. You go to those other parents. I have two ladies that I love, and both of their children have autism, and I share my heart with them. They share their heart with me, and we have a strong support group, and that is such a blessing. And this is a time that we need to draw together to help our babies. And so I just want to pray that the Lord will guide you and direct you. I pray that something we said will stir in you. I pray that if you have a question, that you'll ask. I'll be glad to direct you in whatever way that I can. But I just, again, want to give credits to the Lord, number one, because He has ordained every footstep that we've had, and just a great therapist that we've had. And, I don't know all their last names because there are so many that has worked with Cannon through the years, but I know that Live Oak Children's Therapy, where there's John, and there's Rebecca, and there's Megan, and there's Hannah and Sally, and they're just a special group in my life, and I'm so thankful to the Autism Advocates of Appleton County, Heather and Summer, who's been very supportive, and just the families that we have here that have loved on us, encouraged us, our church family, Omaha Baptist, they've taken us in, and It's just a blessing. I'm sorry to get emotional, but this is the reality of it. This is the reality of our lives. And so, for Autism Awareness Month, for April 2020, share about autism. Break the stigma. You know, tell your story. Don't live in shame. Don't live in fear. It's what God has blessed you with. This is a blessing. I hope you're all having a great day. God bless you.